Hello, hello, everyone. It is Wednesday, my favorite middle part of the week, because every Wednesday we bring to you this amazing webinar series where we are exploring some amazing place on earth. I'm Stephanie Gillison. I am here with my partner in crime, Hannah Maverick, and we are with Airdomo. And I'm excited because this week we are going to be talking about Sri Lanka. And if you have no idea about Sri Lanka, you need to be, after this webinar and listening to us, you need to be looking at Sri Lanka. You need to be going to airdomo.com and looking at the properties that we have for sale in Sri Lanka, because it's a pretty magical place, Hannah, isn't it?
It really, really is. It is October 1st, officially cozy season. I'm in my hoodie, but currently, even if Europe is hitting 50 degrees, it is 80 degrees in Sri Lanka. Beautiful weather. So, I mean, rather be there right now, but here we are. Sri Lanka is called the Pearl of the Indian Ocean because of its shape and location. And what I love about it is that it's one of the world's biodiversity hotspots. So you can see leopards, elephants, sloth bears, blue whales, and even sperm whales all in one country.
Oh, that's amazing. It's like going to the zoo, right?
Exactly. It's very, very cool. Tourism is a really fast growing sector.
Well, and you know what I love about it too is obviously in the pictures you'll see it's so famous for its beaches, but also its tea plantations, and it's got a lot of cultural landmarks. The island is home to eight UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Talk to us about that, Hannah.
Yes, the island is home to eight UNESCO's World Heritage Sites, which makes it really rich in history and it has a very, very big global appeal. That's why their tourism is very fast growing. It has millions of visitors drawn to its wildlife safaris and ancient temples and surfing beaches. And like you said, there is a big number of tea plantations because their tea is among the most famous teas in the world. And they are the country of cinnamon because Ceylon cinnamon comes from Sri Lanka.
That's amazing. And Sri Lanka's strategic location, it's along the major shipping routes. And so it's positioned, as a rising economic hub in South Asia. So it's not too far off the beaten path and something impossible to get to. And also good for me is English is widely spoken in business and tourism there. So it makes it easy for a person like me who's not well versed in many languages, for me to go there and engage with the locals and in property locations. So I love it. I'm glad we're diving into Sri Lanka. When I was a little young girl in my elementary class, I think I was in third or fourth grade, we actually had an exchange student that came from Sri Lanka. And so that was the first time I had ever heard of it. But I never realized how beautiful it was until I got into selling global real estate and realized it is just such a magical place. So I'm excited.
Yeah, and I bet you've actually seen it before and might have not even been aware of it because the island inspired parts of the Jungle Book and even Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. So that's all Sri Lanka. But let's talk about why Sri Lanka is gaining attention among property investors.
Well, look, it's a combination of several things, but affordability, okay? Affordability is still able to happen there. Natural beauty, the growth potential. When you compare it to many Asian and European markets, property prices remain competitive and the tourism is continuing to expand. So you're going to have opportunities for the short-term rental market if you're looking to gain some investment income off of these properties that you might be investing in. Coastal regions like Galle and Marissa attract luxury villa developments, while Colombo offers modern apartments and more of the commercial opportunities. The market is particularly appealing for the investor seeking lifestyle properties with long-term value. So you get a bit of both things. And again, it's a great location. And I think it's cool because you get that African safari concept, but the island, atmosphere. So pretty unique.
Exactly. There is a lot to do in Sri Lanka, which is why people do consider it a very good investment property. It has a lot of culture and history, nature and wildlife. It has amazing beaches. The food is really good. I'm always going to talk about that when we talk about the countries. So a lot of really great stuff there. But based on that, what rules should foreign buyers be aware of before investing in Sri Lanka?
Okay, now we've got some bizarre things, okay? But the opportunity is there. So, land ownership. Foreigners cannot directly purchase freehold land, all right? However, we can own apartments and condominiums above the fourth floor without any restriction, okay? No restriction whatsoever. We can just go there. If we're on the fifth floor, we can buy it, right? Leases, long-term land leases up to 99 years, okay? Those are available for foreign investors, allowing access to prime beachfront and commercial plots. That's like the Maldives. They would much rather see the land being leased up to 99 years versus totally giving away ownership. Okay. And so, that's like having it, but it is in fact a lease. All right. Company ownership. Now, foreigners can absolutely establish a local company, which then may purchase property under certain conditions and restrictions. All right. Taxes and fees. Buyers should budget for stamp duty around 4%, legal fees and registration costs. And then rental income is subject to some local taxes. Buying property alone does not grant residency, but investment based visas may be possible under special circumstances as well. So there's always nuances to get around. And again, this is why Air Domo has been created, because there's always a way to navigate these things. There's always a way for us to figure out the best possible way for you to meet your goals. So if you're reaching out to us and you're saying, oh my goodness, I have fallen in love with Sri Lanka, help me find the best way. That's exactly what we're here to do. So don't you worry. So I'm excited.
Exactly. I want to touch on why foreigners can't buy freehold land, just because it is an interesting but very valid fact. The natural interest, their sovereignty, Sri Lanka historically restricted direct and land ownership to prevent large-scale foreign acquisitions of local land. It's basically tied to protecting agriculture and cultural heritage and rural communities. So it does make sense.
Yeah.
But when we take that into consideration, obviously, there are specific regions of Sri Lanka that present the strongest investment opportunities. Let's talk about those.
Yeah, so Colombo, it's the capital city. It's got the growing demand for modern apartments, commercial spaces, and mixed use developments. Galle and the southern coast, that is known for your colonial heritage and luxury beachfront villas, a hotspot for the high-end tourism. Marissa and Welgama is the emerging, they're prime areas for the surf tourism and the boutique resorts. Kandy is a cultural hub surrounded by the mountains. It's attractive for the eco lodges and the heritage properties. And then you've got Trincomalee, and I'm going to you've got to pronounce that, Hannah. Say that. You're so much better with language than I am.
It's Trincomalee and Eastern Coast. Yeah,
There
it
you go.
offers untapped potential.
Yeah.
Exactly. It offers untapped potential for resort development and basically long-term growth.
Absolutely. And in those areas, again, it's those leasehold, but up to 99 years. I mean, I think we're all, by the time we're able to go and invest in Sri Lanka, none of us have 99 years left, right? And those can be renewed if these are things you want to keep into the family and so forth. Again, things that we help you navigate. So very strong market though there, and very affordable still. So I love it.
Exactly. What trends do we see currently shaping the Sri Lankan real estate market?
Well, the luxury condominiums, and that has a lot to do with the fact that the fifth floor and above can be land ownership, right? And that's happening in Colombo. That's the expats that are returning to the Sri Lankas. There's also a rising demand for boutique resorts and villas, and that's simply because the boutique resorts, tourism, right? Tourism is growing. And so they need places to stay. And so the more short term rentals with the villas, the better off as well, too, because obviously the increasing interest in the tourism, more places need to be available. Also, the sustainable developments. And then foreign direct investments in the commercial and infrastructure projects. They keep improving connectivity and the long term prospects.
Exactly. And there is a workaround for foreigners when it comes to owning in Sri Lanka, which is through a Sri Lankan company. If it's locally incorporated and there's less than 50% of foreign ownership, you are allowed then to even buy land. So there is definitely things that we can do.
Absolutely.
All right, so time for my favorite part, the ROI. How can investors achieve solid returns when buying in Sri Lanka?
Well, you got to focus on the coastal tourism hubs, right? Sri Lanka is known for the beaches, so let's be coastal about it and look for the high rental yields through the vacation villas and the boutique hotels. But also consider Colombo apartments for the steady rental income and long term appreciation. Leverage those long term leases to access beachfront and development plots, right? Partner with reputable local developers and legal experts to navigate ownership restrictions. That's what Hannah was just talking about, having ownership of a company that then has ownership of the land. And then also exploring the eco friendly projects that align with the growing global demand for sustainable tourism. Sri Lanka has a lot going for it. And again, it's a place that maybe not everybody's ever considered or maybe hasn't, even heard of. But once you start to dive in, it's definitely a place that I think more and more people will start to consider. So it's a pretty cool place. And like I said, you've got to go on to Airdomo and look at the properties that we have there. And there's going to be more and more that are going to be popping up. And then feel free to reach out if you'd like to speak more about how we can help you achieve those goals in investing in Sri Lanka. But until next Wednesday, Hannah, I think this was amazing.
This was great, and thank you guys for joining, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.